the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Today we have on Dead by Wednesday. We have Opus and Dave. How are you guys?
Ha ha ha
Excellent.
ha 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 ha. See, I'm a laughing monkey.
You are a laughing monkey. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Good, good. We're going back and forth. I've been digging your music, and I didn't realize, as we were talking earlier, how awesome the connection of being New England. So it's even more exciting for me to support a local band. And then
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the band's history goes back to Gargantuan Soul. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I started that band. I was the original founding member, and I was with it from the very beginning until the very demise. And we did everything from Woodstock '99 to Farm Club to
You guys did Ozfest, right?
Yeah, we did so much stuff. It was out of control, and I carried it over towards the end. I wanted to do something that was heavy and a lot more metal. That's what I grew up. I grew up on punk and metal, and we started Dead by Wednesday. And Jamie Josta heard the demo in 2005, and it was actually originally with the singer, my cousins, David and Chesky Ramos, and now Chesky is blowing up. He's actually singing for the Co-Defendants with Fat Mike from NoFX, and they're opening for Avenged Sevenfold, and they're just blowing up big time. But that was the original singer, my cousin Chesky from Connecticut, and Jamie's label, Stillborn Records, put out the very first album, our debut Dead by Wednesday album, Democracy is Dead. And that was in 2006, and it sold about 3,000 units right out of the box, and no one knew who the hell we were. And that's because of Jamie's connection and the whole Gargantua Soul connection. So we were off to a good start right from the beginning, and we're still here, and we're still kicking butt. There's been a lot of ups and downs like a roller coaster, but for the most part, it's been a really cool ride.
It's really cool to see. Yeah, I remember. I think it must have been Ozfest. I saw the band you guys play. I just remember how bananas you guys were. I think somebody was like and stuff. It was like, and I think what's really good about that band, and I think it carries over, not even sound wise, is like when you see the band live, when you hear the music, you instantly feel like you're a part of it. And you don't, like when you get some music, you have to listen to it a few times, especially if it's your favorite artist. You're like, I think I like the album, but I gotta listen to it a few times. Like when I saw the Gargantuan show, and then when I started listening to the newer music you sent me, the links and stuff, you already feel like you're a part of it. It feels like it's very easy.
That's what we try to do. I mean, our live show, we don't do all like the crazy. We put on a show like in every fashion, but we don't like do like the whole Kiss thing. Like a lot of the stuff that G Soul did was very visual, but we are still.
I thought you were going to say lip sync.
We are still a visual band live, and we put out a lot of energy, and we want people to be a part of the show in that sense,
I think it's important. So who's in the latest lineup right now? Like when was the last change? The solid lineup.
You want to get into that, Dave?
Yeah. So the last lineup change. Well, Steve Esteban Alvarez joined us in April 2020. He was actually going to fill in for our last singer, Rob, for a tour we had planned, and then COVID struck, and Rob was a casualty. Just that we did a month and a half long tour with Flotsam and Jetsam in 2019 all across the country. We went everywhere, like Idaho, Colorado, California, Arizona, all the way back, and he just decided it wasn't for him. So he'd hang in there until we found somebody. So we were getting ready for a tour. COVID hit, got canceled. But right out of the gate, I mean, we had a song already recorded with Steve by June of 2020, and we haven't looked back. So we've been solid for a good 3 years now. I joined coming up on my 5th anniversary here in August. Technically, I started jamming with the band this month 5 years ago, and I was wrapping up a tour with my other band, In Time Illusion. At the time, they had a mini tour on the what tour was that? Not X Games. You guys did a week run in July. I wasn't able to do it because my other band.
Oh, that was Van's Warped Tour.
Van's Warped Tour, yeah, which kind of stunk that I had to miss that, but
Jesse ended up doing that.
Yeah, so it's been 5 years. Mike obviously is an OG with with Opus, so they always hold it down pretty tight. But yeah, if you listen to the history of the band, I mean, every 2 albums or so, the sound kind of changes and mixes up.
Yes,
I think I
a little
brought a little bit
confusing at first.
metal's back,
Yeah.
into the fold, the harder shit. But yeah, like so if you listen to like Mars in Exile, which is being played on Liquid Metal on Sirius XM right now, I think that's kind of where we're at right now, you know.
Yeah, I think it's sort of stayed in that genre since the Darkest of Angels album, maybe even since the EP Death of a Rock Star, but that was a different singer. But the style that like it's almost like the New England metal style that sort of leaked into what we do. You know, a lot of bands from our area, as you guys know, like that are very similar sounding, like Shadows Fall, and All That Remains, and you got the Killswitch Age and Hatebreed, and so many bands like that, Stain, Godsmack, and so like that New England sound is prevalent definitely with us, but we also like to mix it up and have some our own thing too. So we started off all over the place, and it sort of morphed into like this straight metal vibe. But you get all sorts of metal with us. You get like sometimes you hear a doom riff, then you'll hear a thrash riff, then you'll hear like a metalcore riff. There's no set. We just call it heavy metal. People are like, oh, what genre of metal are you? And it's really kind of,
we don't get too mired down in I mean, some of the older stuff they didn't consider metalcore, but I mean, you even listen. We did an experimental track on the album called Antakarana, and I mean, try putting a label on it, and that's it. I guess it's almost like Tool or something, or Perfect Circle kind of like sounding.
I like it. I do like it, but I think I do favor the riffs of the. I do like you guys go to the thrashier.
Yeah.
Because I think what happens is you guys find your own sound. You do it in a way where it honors the old thrash riffs, but you have your own tone.
Yes.
And that's different than everything.
We both love classic metal. Dave and I we actually love hair metal, but we also, all of us are fans of thrash. We all grew up on the original Metallica, and obviously my favorite bands. I even sometimes play in a Black Sabbath tribute band called Earth from Connecticut too. We tour all over the place. Earth, Sabbath, Tribute USA. That's my favorite band, is Black Sabbath.
Opus and I are friends. Yeah, Opus and I are friends with.
You wouldn't have those bands.
We're friends with one of the current guitarists of Destruction. So going back to like the late '80s and stuff, the Destruction, like that German like speed thrash metal, like that's in my veins,
And also, I don't know, Sean, I don't know if you know, but Dave and I played with the original bass player of Megadeth for 5 years with his solo band. So we had to learn a bunch of old Megadeth stuff. So that's like, that sort of seeps in too when you run after playing that stuff for so long. Doing like shows, we made Mega Cruise together, Dave and I, a bunch of stuff. So, and then when they needed players, they handpicked different people from different bands from off their label, and Dave and I were the guitar player and the drummer for his solo band for a while. So that's why we actually did a cover produced by Zeus. We did a cover of Symphony of Destruction as well, and it came out great. And we have David's blessings from that and everything, and so that's out. We have that too on. I think it's on Bandcamp. It's more of a bonus track.
It's on Bandcamp, and it gets played frequently on Liquid Metal's Quarter of Covers.
Yeah.
You guys are on your way. I mean, you guys would actually be a great fit to open up for his band now with the Jeff and the other guys, the Kings of Thrash. They're recording their album right now too.
I mean, we've talked about it. In fact, I think we were signed up. We were lined up to do it, and then I forgot what happened. Something happened, and it got canceled. I forgot exactly why. But we were lined up to do all sorts of stuff. We were supposed to go to Japan and Australia with him and play with Chris Poland, the original guitar player, and that all got canned because of COVID. So that really sucks. But now we're doing our own thing. We're really trying to make it work. We did last year. We played some really cool festivals. We did Wasteland Weekend in California in the desert. That was huge. And then we did this year. We're doing Milwaukee. We're actually on our way to Milwaukee Metal Fest right now as we speak. We're playing Sunday, May 28th, the same day as Lamb of God, Machine Head. So many great bands, and we're playing at 2:30 on the MartyrStore.net stage, which is Jamie's store stage, and that'll be at 2:30. We're playing this Sunday, and then we got Michigan Metal Fest, one of us, a bunch of great bands. A few of the bands that are playing Milwaukee Metal Fest are also playing that too, and we're gonna probably like a Midwest tour around that show with a couple bands. We're in talk with Opus Black right now. Some other bands.
We should be like traveling, right? Are you guys packing your bags? I mean, should we get ready to?
Yeah, well, myself and my wonderful, awesome tech who also plays in the band, Bomber Alley, on my label, Mind's Not Music.
Hello.
He's driving. We're going in style. We're in a nice Lincoln, and we're driving. And then Dave and Esteban and Mike are all flying out there and meeting us out there.
All right. Very cool.
I'm flying metal class at 5:45 a.m. tomorrow. So.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably early. I would
I'm just gonna stay up.
Yeah, I would do it too. Just stay up late and then just go early. I mean, it's just ridiculous to have to wake up and be anywhere that early.
I'm a working man. I get up early anyway, so I'm good.
I get up early all the time. I have to get my 9-year-old boy to school, and usually during the week when I'm tour, and he started travel like double headers. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of bummed. I'm missing a couple double headers this weekend in Long Island, and it's his first time he's playing a stadium, which is crazy. So I'm like, I wish I was there, but my girl's going, so that's good.
He beat you to play in a stadium, homeboy.
Thank you. I was going to make a joke about that. It was out there for somebody to take that joke. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool, man. That's really cool. So, no, I was going to go back and saying, so with the sound to me, to that point, what I really like, and actually even that band, they all had its own sound, even thrash and hair metal, were really good with having a good tone. So it didn't really matter. What was special about the band is it had a sound.
Exactly.
Yeah. One of the things that I like on this new album, and I think hearing it going backwards for me as a fan, is I really enjoy this one because to me it feels like it has more of a sound that's different. Like, because to me, like more metalcore and like some of that hip hop rap together, it doesn't blend. Like it doesn't stand out as different. Like this album feels like it has more of a tone, more of your own sound. Where before it feels like less of a.
A lot of that is definitely Esteban. I mean, they bring their vibe and their kind of art and style and licks to the table. And Singer really, when we heard him the first time, we knew like he had something special because he could sing and he could scream. But we could keep the integrity of the heaviness for our diehard fans and for the guys, and then we could also have the choruses that you can remember, some like melody that both guys and females could dig. But we're always like Pantera did and a lot of bands do. We love to, even though we keep it heavy, we want to always have that groove. If you don't have a groove or a pocket that people can kind of bounce to, no one is just not memorable. I mean, you can go a million miles an hour and you can scream, but if there's no hooks, no choruses, no riffs that are memorable, it's just a bunch of noise as far as I'm concerned. And that's what you should listen to if that's what you want to hear. But as far as I'm concerned, I mean, there's also going the opposite way too, where it's too much in the other spectrum. Like for me, like Stain, they were heavy when they first started, like Mud Shovel, all that stuff, and then they became basically a ballad band. And that's that's to me that's not same thing with Metallica. Like I love Metallica, but then after a lot of people say Justice for All, but for me, after Black, it just kind of was like, the new one's pretty good. I don't mind a new one, but everything until the newest one was just been kind of like on the wayside for me. And so it's really just like really having that balance. That's what we try. It's really just trying to have that balance, and that's what we try to do. We try to do 50-50, like 50% balls to the wall, heavy, fast, thrash, metal, craziness. 50% melodic, you know, memorable lyrics and choruses and hooks, and then also groove mixed in with the other half that's just brutality and fast and craziness. So it's just really split down the middle for us in a sense, and we've always kept it. That's why it's been similar and sort of the same for the last few albums, because that's kind of what we've been using as like a formula for us for a while now, you know.
Well, I think you can do that as a band and not be concerned of making it. I mean, because the word ballad is almost like almost a bad word in the music field. Because it shouldn't be. You can just write a song with a mood. I mean, because like Planet Caravan, for example, Savage, it's not a ballad, but it's a heavy, slow song. You can, or even like Testament when the ballad, it's not really a ballad. You can do a heavy, slow song with emotion, and it's not going to be put your lighters up. So there's nothing wrong with that either.
Most of the tracks on this album just kind of came out of nowhere. We'd be at practice and he'd Opus kick a beat. I just like start playing along with it, and you know, like even like Here Comes the Dead, we wrote that like 5 minutes, but we weren't like, hey, let's write like a heavy-ish song that has a groove. It's just like it just came out like that. And Darkened Times, which I guess you would say is a ballad on the song, was just I had an older main riff I've been kicking around for a few years, and we just capitalized on that, started adding to it, and then it just came about. So I don't think we ever really sit down and we have like a target. It's just things just organically happen the way they happen. And then, you know, Steve with his Spanish heritage, you know, we're adding a little bit more diversity. We're actually back into the band because early Dead by Wednesday added some Spanish as well. So I think having that component, and, you know, we've toured with Puya in the past, and, you know, metal's for everybody. It's not just, you know, middle-aged blue-collar white dudes in the heart of the heartland. You know, this is the city, it's the coast, it's the islands, it's black, white, yellow, red, blue, purple. You know, and that's what we try to embrace. Just metal for everybody.
Exactly, and some of the biggest metal fans are from South America.
Oh yeah,
huge, and like, you know, that's what definitely sets us apart. I mean, you know, we're like, me and Dave are half the band, and I'm 100% Italian, but I'm white. And Dave's, I'm not sure what nationality, but he's obviously white. And then we have
actually, Dave, you should put some suntan lotion on. I'm getting anxious seeing you in the sun. Like the glare is making me nervous.
Actually, it'll be a good time lapse. You can time lapse as I turn to a lobster.
You're gonna just burst into flames or something in a minute. I'm a little careful.
Yeah. Well, he's glowing. He's glowing. And then you know, we have Mike, who's the original founding band member along with me. So like me and Mike are the only two original members.
Right.
But we're the rhythm section. So it's like we basically are half of the band, the foundation that's been the original members from the very beginning. And he obviously, Mike is black. Esteban looks black, but he's Puerto Rican, 100% Puerto Rican. So like it's a very diverse, cool, not look, but like, you know, all different backgrounds mixed in, and we all like different styles of music. You know, Mike is more of a metalhead than I am. You know, it's crazy. Like I love metal, but also my band was punk. I love hardcore. I love you know, classical. I like, you know, mellow acoustic music. I like the Grateful Dead. I like everything. You know, I'm more of a metalhead, but I like it all. I'm not a huge pop or country pop guy, but you know, I think being diverse and having a wide variety of music is great for all musicians to incorporate, because there's too many elitists out there that, you know, if it's not grindcore and going a million miles an hour and screaming, they don't like it, and that's all they like. And it's just, that's fine, to each their own. But, you know, I think that if you want to basically include a wide variety of people, young, small, big, tall, brown, white, doesn't matter. It should be a sound that sort of encompasses a bunch of different things. And that's kind of what G Soul did too, except obviously we were more pigeonholed into that rap rock stuff because that was the era that we played in. But we weren't that straight either, you know. But and I have nothing against that. I mean, our manager was originally from Rage Against the Machine, so like we really, you know, we were just time and place. But I always loved thrash. I always loved metal. I always loved punk. That was my first, you know, my first heart. You know, first thing that Kiss was the first thing. Sabbath, AC/DC, Metallica, Megadeth, you name it, all that stuff, Black Sabbath, Ozzy. That was all like stuff I grew up on, Venom, Destruction, like Dave was mentioning, all those bands,
This album, so what's this? The newest album right now. To me, I like it the best out of everything because it feels like it's the most original sound I think I've heard of all of your music. To me, it feels like you really found your spot. It's not a dig towards the other stuff by any means. Everyone in the band is very talented musicians. Just for me, I hear it as very cohesive. Like it feels like this what's going on now is really like the best. And you have your own sound.
Thank you so much.
It feels, you're welcome, and the most original sound you've had.
Yeah, sometimes it just takes a few years to get the right ingredients, right?
Yeah. Well, totally.
It's like making
look at Pantera. Look at Pantera. They had a whole other singer for a while. That's not a bad band. It's just not our Pantera. You know what I'm saying? It's just different bands. And
I agree.
But this
like
right here,
you're adding salt and oregano and vodka or whatever.
Right, vodka. I know what you're cooking. But I think it's important though. I mean, seriously, you guys do have a good sound, and obviously that's what we're talking. I want people to check out the album. So the newest album, Capital. So was it all written during COVID, or was it over time, or what was it?
Yeah, I started writing some riffs probably during the tour on the Dead by Wednesday eponymous. How do you say it? Eponymous? I don't know. I can't talk today. There you go. Our last album, probably around 2019, started writing a few things here and there, but it wasn't really until we got off that run and 2020 began, and I just starting the riff machine up. And then once Steve, we only had a couple songs really ready to go. Maybe when Steve joined, or like frames of them, and then just in 2020, that COVID year, I think just being home a lot more. We used to still meet by Skype every Thursday, which is our rehearsal day, and we just throw ideas at each other. The cool thing is that Steve and I are pretty good with Pro Tools on our own, and Mike's got GarageBand or a couple other different recording tools. So I can just record tracks and then we can DI them in a real studio later. I can DI them at my house. I can record a demo, send it to Opus. Opus was luckily enough able to get into the studio using COVID protocols, do all the drums. Then once we had like those basic tracks, Steve would just layer it. So we kind of, I'd say we recorded about 85% of the album like at home, which was, it's a little challenging, but it's kind of cool too. It's just take your time. There's really no pressure. We didn't have like a date by a label or anything pushing us. We were kind of just wrapping up with Combat Records and really weren't sure how we were going to put the next album out. We even floated around ideas of just doing like EPs or like singles, but I'm glad we compiled the full album. But I'd say that about for 1 year straight, we just wrote and recorded, and then we spent maybe another half year mixing, mastering, and then we were ready to go at the end of the end of 2021.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of the cohesive sound and a lot of the tones that you hear that you like. I think I also got to give credit to Nikki, for our producer, Nikki Belmore from Dexter's Lab Recording Studios. He's the
great sound. I didn't get to that. Yeah,
he's from Connecticut. He plays drums with Josta, also D. Snyder. Been around for a while. Toxic Holocaust. He plays in a band called Kings and Liars. He's been recording like so many amazing musicians for so long, and bands, big and small. And he, for the last few albums, he's been working with us and doing a lot of my drums and basically mixing and doing a lot of stuff for us. And I think he knows what we're trying to do and what our sound should be. And he even suggested when we first got together with Esteban, our singer, he seemed like he was straining with his voice and everything was up really high. And he actually, or maybe it was the other way around. Dave, maybe you could correct me.
He was trying to get a little lower register and it wasn't working.
Yeah, so he actually suggested that we would tune the guitars differently, and once we did, we noticed right away that Esteban was able to hit those notes without any issues, and it was like perfect. So he knows what he's doing, and that's kind of why we use him, and that's part of the reason why we have that with the sound that we have now. I would believe,
Well, the album sounds live. I'm gonna say first off, kudos for not trying to do drums anywhere besides the studio, because you can do every other recording at your house. Drums has got to be in the studio. You cannot do it. It's a crime in my eyes. Unless you have a studio in your house, but you cannot do it in a bedroom or a garage. You need this. You need it in the right environment.
Yeah, I'm a fan of overhead mics. I think I can hear when you hear like a new digital overproduced album. I mean, 5 seconds in, I'm like, those fucking drums sound like crap. Typewriter.
I went to college 1990 I have a recording degree, so like actually learning analog, right, as a pushing digital. I'm very particular about what I want to hear, especially in the drums.
Exactly
in the studio. So to me,
a room sound,
you need big. I want a big sound, and then to me, like I'll hear the album, and here's how I'll hear it. Like you guys are a perfect example. First, I want to hear the drums. I have to grab it. I want to hear the bass, and I want to hear the bass on its own. I don't want to hear the bass mixed in, muddied back, or buried. I want to hear the bass, and sometimes I want to hear the bass sneak in and lead part of the song, weave in and out. Then I want to hear some great riffs, and I want you to have your own tone. You've got your own tone, and then I want the vocals to actually be able to have a strong voice, but have an inflection where you can have some melody, have something memorable. Because you're right, if you can't remember it, if it's metalcore, you can stand there and you can thrash all. But when you go home, it's gonna be harder to remember. If you do a hip hop version, everyone's gonna dance the whole show. When they go home, it's just rhythm. They're not gonna really remember the song. You kind of got to have a song there to have it stick with them afterwards.
Yeah. It was a good story. A good story is when we did the 2 covers we did Van Halen Unchained and we did Symphony of Destruction with Megadeth. We worked with Zeus, the producer, on most of it, but Opus cut the drums with Nicky, and Zeus listened to the drums. He said, "Look, man, I'm not triggering anything, man." He's like, "Nicky got the sound like a natural drum." So when you listen to it, it's real kick, it's real snare, real toms, and I mean the song's crushed. They're on our Bandcamp, and it's like, there just wasn't any like tomfoolery or like over mixing. It was just raw. Even my guitars, I mean, it's like pretty much almost one take, just all the way through, and it was just that's our sound, man. It's like we want to bring it back to the days where it's like a band playing together, man. I mean, if we could, I'd record all in the same room together, like it's 1972, like that you get a feel. So the feeling's been lost in recording now. Everything's so tight to the metronome and click tracks that it just sounds like a robot recorded it. And I guess some people like that. They like the mechanical nature of it, but I think that organic like feel has been lost over years, and we're trying to bring that back to like the metal community.
Well, now they have AI that you can just write a song for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That just crushes me. That crushes me.
Mix. You can just buy somebody's like mix characteristics and import those, and then you just wash your whole recording in somebody else's mix. But I think a mix is a vision too. It's like somebody just given like a palette, and you play with colors and stuff, man. If you're just using somebody else's parameters, it's like, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Why do it? Because obviously, if you do music, you're not always going to make the money. You're going to work your own other jobs. It's a whole thing. So if you're going to do music, you want to enjoy the journey. The journey is you find the right musicians, you find the right sound, you write the right songs, you record them, you find the right recording, you do the right artwork, you do the right album work. You want to do an album. I mean, this is to me the journey. You want the cool shirts. You want to have the great. It's a whole package, and you want to be able to look at it and go, man, this is it. This is my thought process. This is the whole thing we created. It's not just one thing, and it goes on. If you're just doing now and this and that and an AI thing, you're not really doing anything.
I agree. And it's only taken over a decade to find the right people and the right T-shirt designs. Overnight success.
No one's overnight.
The vision for this last album too is to kick it kind of old school. Like the album cover, we're like, man, let's bring it back like Technicolor, like a cartoon feel, and like most metal is gonna be black and skulls and this and that. I mean, we got like pink in our cover, and it's like, but it pops. We just wanted like a visual, like when I was a kid, you just looked at album covers when you listen to an album, and like we wanted to put like almost like little Easter eggs and things like that all over the cover and the back and the pull out, just something you can look at and like muse over while you listen to the music. So that was very important. Well,
I think the album cover matters. I mean, I remember going back and just like before you couldn't hear the music, and you go to the store, and then the metal albums would come in, like the imports, and you look at the cover and you buy it based on the cover. I mean, you would never do that. But usually half the time it was okay, sometimes it wasn't. But you kept it because you're like, man, that was a cool cover.
I I did that with Kill 'Em All. I did that with Destruction. I did that with AC/DC. I did that with Ozzy. I did that with so many bands. Probably Venom. I did that with. From the covers, I bought them, and then I'm like, oh, this is great. And I got to learn from that. But yeah, touching upon what Dave said, live we do the same thing. We don't try to, use backing tracks or vocal tuning or like even have a second rhythm guitar player. We, we're set up like the original cats that used to play like that, like Pantera, Van Halen, Led Zeppelin, Sabbath. There's one guitar player. When he's soloing, it's me, my bass player, and my bass player's so badass that we don't need really another guitar player to hold it down. So we're trying to keep it very organic, and kind of like and real and raw and old school, like in that sense,
Yeah, I agree. I think, and to me, like I remember when I saw Pantera, they actually opened up for Prong, and then they came back, and then Prong opened up for them. It's like in the same tour, right? When Cowboys first came out, and yeah, I mean, he came out, and there was barely anybody there. When Dimebag played, I mean, there was obviously just his guitar and the bass and the drums. It sounded fantastic because you were so focused on his sound. It was great. You didn't need everything.
It was funny you mentioned Prong. I just jammed with Tommy
I love
Victor.
Prong. What are you guys looking at so this summer? What are we looking at now? Obviously the Metal Fest. What are we doing as a band? Where can people check you out? What's going on?
Little tour with the Michigan Metal Fest in August, and then we're working on some singles that we want to put out too, just follow up to the new album. And then there's talks with there's a bunch of different tour talks happening for the fall, maybe winter. I've been talking to the drummer of first of all, Twisted. We still have a tour that's on board with those guys that I've been waiting on for a while. And then we've been talking to what's the name of that band?
Skin Lab.
Skin Lab, that's right. My boy Steve from Skin Lab. We're talking about doing a run with those guys on the West Coast. And then there's another, besides the Cultist Black thing, we're on the Michigan Metal Fest. There's also another run. Oh God, what's the name of the band? My brain is not working right now.
Yeah, I think as far as the summer though, we'll go dark in July a little bit, take some family time. But as Opus said, we have a couple videos in the works as well. I think Opus and Steve did some filming this last weekend for a track off the new album. So we'll probably put about 3 more videos out maybe by the end of the year, to be honest.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're gonna do more videos too. We have a couple videos that we're working on. There's a lot of irons in the fire. It's just a matter of waiting to see what pops and what doesn't pop,
So really, they need to check out your newest music. If they can see you at the Milwaukee Fest, obviously, it's gonna be awesome with a lot of bands. I encourage the website will be underneath the show on the podcast and on YouTube. So click on the website, and from the website you can go on everything: Instagram, your YouTube. It's all there, and your tour stuff will be on there too. So people will be able to keep up to date with it.
Awesome.
Anything
man.
you guys want to add and say to your fans or anything?
Like to throw out some props to some endorsements. If you look at Opus's shirt, Mass Destruction, man, this dude hooks us up all the time. Mass Destruction clothing.
So one of our awesome sponsors, yes.
We just did an ad for James
clothing.
Homer. They do some shirts. I want to give some props out to Solar Guitars. My guitar took a beating on tour. Actually, I had to just get it back from a luthier, but it played all the way through. I had to do a little soldering on the road, but that's
soldering is awful.
Yeah, and
I hate soldering.
Shout out to Randall. I'll be cranking my Randall at the Milwaukee Metal Fest, and SIT strings, Digitech pedals. Good products.
The Big Firth drumsticks. So Trinity Cymbals. Shout out to Pop Killers Entertainment for the last European tour. Pietro and Strange Love Films.
We have a documentary out, just got released.
Yeah, we did a rockumentary with about all of our European dates and stuff is out right now. Also, Sal DeGreco, who did a amazing job with the last video. He was saying Mars in Exile on YouTube. It's a Lego video inspired by my son Orion. Shout out to him. Scott Harrington from Salt of the Earth Records. He's actually, we wish him well. He's laid up right now. He has some health issues, but he's doing better, thank God. And he's really very important in the whole thing. He helped out a lot with getting us vinyl and CDs, hard copies, and all the pre-orders for Dead by Wednesday. We also have a brand new. Well, Mind's Not Music has a brand new virtual merch booth where you could actually buy the Wednesday Adams t-shirt online. It's all over our social media. There's just so much stuff. If you go to our YouTube page, Facebook, Instagram,
DBW
all that
TV,
stuff, you know.
Excellent, very good. I think you leave here a lot, so hopefully you make some new fans. You guys have a lot of stuff for people to keep them busy, and, you know, and enjoy. But I want to thank you guys for being on the show.
Thank you, bud.